Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Healthy You. I'm so excited to be hosting this show. I'm Kim Martin, and it is my goal to help educate and inform you about all the different pieces of living a healthy lifestyle, because there are so many pieces to living a healthy lifestyle, and many of us obviously use the one big factor, which is the scale, and all how you're doing and to measure your success. It really should be, there's so many other reasons to live a healthy lifestyle. And one we talked about last week on the show was relationships and love, and it all has to start with a place of love. And so my guest today is Mary Ardapple. You may know her as the owner of Apple Bakery here in Peoria. And she's going to be visiting with us the second Wednesday of every month. And just going to be our expert when it comes to relationship and food and specifically our relationship to food, right, Mary?
Absolutely. Kim, first and foremost, thanks for inviting me to be able to work with you on this really great project. I am so excited to be able to spend the second Wednesday of every month on Healthy You talking about our relationship with food in particular. For those that didn't follow Apple's Bakery and one cookie at a time, because it was really all about cookies and smiles made from scratch, let me take a moment and just share with the listener and the viewer today as who I am, why I'm here, and what I hope we can accomplish over the course of the next several months. My background is food. My passion is food. My life evolves around food. Now, my own personal relationship always did not start out as a healthy relationship with food. So some of you and I are very much alike. I had a really difficult experience with food early on, and through the course of the several weeks as we go forward, I'll share more about that. But I fortunately landed in Peoria way back in 1982, and I started my path as food as in my career with becoming a cook at O'Leary's restaurant. Subsequently, I bought that restaurant, and then out of that evolved Apple's Bakery, which was retired. It'll be 2 years this July. After a very, very long career of over 30 years with Central Illinois, I feel very, very blessed with my relationship with food and very grateful for all of the friendships and the memories that we were able to create one meal at a time, one cookie at a time, because it really is when we gather around a table, Kim, with our food, when we share food, that food, I think it's with food is. So when I met Kim a number of years ago,
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, it has. It's been a while. And y'all know her. She's really a go-getter. And so she's always had this wonderful energy that's inspirational to others, and she has been so exemplary in what she does with her own business and with her own initiatives through Curves, and I've decided that in many ways, we're kindred spirits, wouldn't you say?
I think so. And, I kind of knew it. Like, I think it's probably been 10 years ago, at least, that we met at NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners. We both are members of that, a great organization. And, I said yesterday when we were together, I said, I just kind of admired you from afar. We didn't really know each other, but I just knew you were such an amazing woman here in Peoria and an awesome businesswoman and such a mentor, and I just knew, I'm like, I'm gonna, there's something,
there.
You have that feeling, but you're just not sure, and then, it's amazing how things kind of circle back, huh, Mary?
Absolutely, it really is, and that's the thing, that's the fun part about life that I love to embrace. You never know when a moment is going to circle back around and become meaningful in a way you never could have imagined before. So when I bumped into Kim, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so at one of her events, and then we were having coffee, and you shared this other, this remembrance that you have of meeting me in the beginning at NABO. And that I had told a story, or I had shared, people, being a professional sugar peddler, didn't think that I ate a lot of sugar at the bakery because I work at being fit. Exercise is a really big part of my life, more so now that I have more time than then, but also my work environment was very, very physical. And so people didn't really believe that I would snack. And I'm a muncher. I mean, I not only like to make food, folks, I love to eat food. I love all kinds of food. It just speaks to me. It's a language of love, like you said earlier. And I had shared this story, and I've shared it many, many times. So this gives a little bit of background. I always ate during the years of Apple's Bakery in particular. I usually ate a cookie or cake top. If you've never had cake top, the next time you make a cake, just go ahead and skin the top of that off and put a little icing. That is actually the most delectable part of a cake. But
Cake top.
Cake top. Sometime we'll just have cake top.
Let's just rush out and get some cake
Let's
top.
get cake top. I don't really care about the piece cake. Just give me cake.
Always
and
wonder.
It's just
So
the
that's
skin
why
of that. Oh my golly.
So there you
goodness.
have it, folks.
Oh
There's
my
your
golly
answer. If you've
goodness.
ever been curious in the bakery why they have muffin tops, because I always think to myself, why'd they get rid of the rest of the muffin? What's the point? Less
the most
calories?
flavor, well, probably not. It's all about how much you eat is only how you're going to get less calories. But the flavor really bakes into the skins of whatever we are making. The true, it's a different flavor palette. So we could go off on a long tangent on that.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's really
interesting.
tasty. So I would eat a cookie or a sweet, I would say, most mornings around 9 o'clock. And my staff, they could set their clocks. She's going to go off. She's going to go eat something sweet. And then I wouldn't eat anything sweet the rest of the day. So as I said earlier, I had this relationship that was not overly healthy between me and my sweets. And so I taught myself, when will my body go ahead and accept this and then not crave it? So food is to figure out where your cravings are. And you said that really resonated because you're so trained. I mean, you're trained as a nutritionist before.
I hadn't, and for me, it's a lot of my years in coaching. It's about don't have it, right? I can't have that. It's unhealthy. I shouldn't have that. And so when I would have
M&Ms. Let me just share with you. We'll get back to that.
We'll get back to the peanut M&Ms. But for the longest time, it was about no, that's off limits.
Yeah.
If you do have that, oh no, you just cheated, right? You just did something you shouldn't do. And that's how most of us view sweets, as an off limits, and we do it, we feel guilty. And so I think, Mary, the thing that stood out to me is that, well, first of all, you look great, you're fit, you're fabulous. You just look fabulous.
By golly, it's so nice to stop by here.
I know. You're fit and fabulous, and you're just wonderful. And so to see you and as a coach at that time, feeling like sweets were off limits, and to see you so fit and fabulous going, oh, I eat my dessert every single morning, and it's wonderful, and I love it. And you had you knew that. And I'm like, that makes perfect sense too, because in my head as a fitness coach and a nutritionist, I'm thinking, well, you have time to burn it off during the day. Ingredients, quality
That's
ingredients.
Really key. Yes, that is really key. And the thing that we need to remember about our relationship with and just eat any one category, a whole variety of that.
Right.
And that's what's going to be really, really fun for me to now share some anecdotal stories and tips and tools on the second Wednesday of every month on Healthy You with you, the viewer, as to how to incorporate what's going on in your life. That's really important to me. So some might say, well, now that you are a retired sugar peddler, do you still snack? Absolutely, I do. So today, we do have some really delicious. So let's just talk about the snacks that I lean towards now, though.
Yeah.
Whereas before I had a marvelous cookie jar and had the privilege of eating cookies directly out of the oven. Now that I'm at home, and you were in my kitchen just the other day, you can tell it's not as large as what the bakery was. I still bake, and I do therapy baking, but I have to be very disciplined in what I eat, because I am one of those people that if I have a box of cookies on the counter, I won't eat just one.
Really?
Okay.
Now, see,
So-
I thought maybe you were the one that could just eat just the one.
Well, I can, but I have to put some tools around that. Okay. So what I do is I use my freezer.
Ah.
So if it's here's the retired baker's brain, okay? So if I bake a loaf of banana bread, like I brought you banana bread
Yes,
today.
I'm going to have some of that banana bread here in a little while.
And it's pretty yummy.
I got my coffee to go
and
with
you're
it.
good to go. If I bake that banana bread and I slice it and I leave it out on the counter, for me, there are times, not every day, but there are times that, yes, I would eat that one piece and I won't take the time to really respect it and cherish it as a treat.
And love it.
And love it.
As the yummy banana nut bread that it is.
Because I see there are more slices on that plate. So it's like, let me go ahead and just hurry up and eat this and not really think about it. And that's one of the key things about the relationship with our food is really giving it some honor and some love and cherish that food of what is it bringing to my body. Is it just pleasure from it being sweet? Is it nutritionally rich, so it's got some good protein, so my muscles are going to be strong and I can go out during the day? Why are you putting in your mouth at the time that you're putting in your mouth? That food choice really dictates how your relationship is. Is it healthy? Yeah. Is it under stress? And society wants us just to continue to consume.
That's for sure.
So for me, the tools that I put in place, I made this banana bread. Actually,
Yes.
you saw this very loaf of bread when you were at my home last week.
Mm-hmm. I had some too.
You did.
And an almond cookie.
You had that almond cookie. Which
I love those almond cookies.
I'll make those again.
Oh, good.
Because those are really yummy. So
All
that's,
right.
again, going to be one of the things, the second Wednesday of every month. I'm going to bring a treat.
We're going to have people lined up out the door. We can't tell them where we are because they'll start coming to get the treats.
We don't know where you are. And you can't have my address either.
Oh, man. I know where she lives. I can blackmail you.
So, as I've told many, I do baking therapy. So, on occasion, packages of baked goods go different directions, so who knows how we will work this as we go forward. But the key is, I told you, bake the bread. Now, I love to bake. So, just having my hands in that flour and mixture, for me, it's a centering, it's a grounding feeling. And so I encourage you, the viewer, to just think about what you do in your life, that when you do it, you feel centered. And I would encourage you that if it's difficult for you to come up with that, that's okay, because you've probably never asked yourself that question before. But I would encourage you to just do some windshield time and some self-reflection. And then when you do it, really see how you feel. So for me, to be completely transparent, it's having my hands in food. My husband gets worried about me sometimes when he comes in and says, "How many things are you making today?" It is just the two of us. And I'm like, "Oh, I know." And then he's running the dishwasher for the third time that weekend. And he's like, "Mare, I think you've put enough in the freezer for right now." And that's what I do. When I have the urge, I make it, I slice it, I wrap it, I freeze it. So you will go into my freezer and there will be a bag that has maybe individual slices of this banana bread, individual packages of 2 of those cookies that you had the other day. Or he loves biscuits and gravy, so I'll make a whole batch of biscuits and gravy, and 2 people should not eat an entire batch. I rarely actually eat that. But then I freeze it in individual containers, and then a batch of biscuits, so I can pull it out and you have that. So using your freezer as a working partner is a really big deal to me in developing that relationship.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool, because you're right. I think about that. If you have something sitting on your counter and you have a large amount of it,
right,
you really do just kind of go, you just shovel it down.
You just shovel it down.
But if it's like the last piece or it's the only one.
Piece.
I had one of my members shared a story with me, and she started living a healthy lifestyle and, eating healthy and making wise choices. And my motto is nothing's off limits.
Oh, no.
You can have anything you want when you want to. It's about balance. It's about making the choice. It's about thinking about it. And so she knew she was going to a chocolate factory on her vacation, a candy factory. And because she had been practicing discipline, she wanted to lose some weight, right? She'd been practicing discipline. And so she made this chocolate factory like, I'm going. And she said it was so awesome because she spent like a half hour looking at all the chocolates, trying to decide just which one was going to be the perfect chocolate for her. And she goes, so that was so fun, just taking the time to look through all the chocolates. And then she goes, and then I got one. And I sat down, and she said, I savored every single
I can taste
bite.
that piece of chocolate right now.
I was so impressed. And that's what you're saying, though.
That's exactly
what I'm saying.
what
And she said,
I'm
I was so satisfied. She said, I had zero guilt. I was so satisfied. It was the best piece of chocolate I had ever eaten in my life. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was an experience.
And that's what our food should be. It's an experience. And no matter what you're eating and when you're eating, that's what I encourage you to really consider, is what is that relationship? What's the experience you want to come out of that meal? If you're going to go out to dinner with friends and it's a rich meal, how do you order wisely? I think that will be a topic we will touch upon going forward.
Yes.
Is how do you eat out and also maintain wherever you want to be with your relationship with food. So anyhow, this is what this retired sugar peddler is doing now.
I love that you call yourself a sugar peddler. That's awesome.
Honey, really.
I mean, really, I guess it's true.
That's really what
It is
I
true,
made
but
a
it's
living
funny.
at is being a sugar peddler. And that's not a bad way to make a living. I have
everybody
to say,
likes sugar.
I have to say that having had Apple's Bakery for all the years and all of the patrons that have followed me around Central Illinois for so many years, I just love all of you and enjoyed that relationship that we had. And it is so way cool to now share with you what I'm up to. And so working with Kim on Healthy You is one aspect, and then a couple of other things for you to look forward to that we're going to talk about in the next oncoming weeks, because I do want you to tune back in and tell your friends, because we're going to have some fun.
Yes.
Is I'm writing a book. Did I tell you that? I'm writing a book.
We didn't tell them that, but you told me
told you
that. Yes, these hands of mine.
These hands of mine. So let me tell you the story about how the title came about and the process of writing a book, because you've written a book.
I have.
And it's not easy.
It takes a lot of time. Yeah, you got to get your thoughts onto paper, unless it comes naturally for you.
Right.
And I'm not a natural gifted writer, author, or anything, but you have all this information, you want to put it in the paper.
Well, and I think when we take time to write a book, you want it to be relevant not only to yourself but to the reader.
Right.
So people, when I retired the bakery, encouraged me to write a cookbook first and foremost.
Oh,
They
yeah.
want a cookbook. So let's do a spoiler alert right now. The book that I'm writing is not a full-fledged cookbook. And one of the reasons that is, at this particular time, I have a lot of work to do in order to do that.
Okay.
Because food that you ate throughout my career that has many, many family and workplace memories around them. We made them in such large batches, and the equipment is different than your equipment at home, or even my equipment at home.
So you have to think about how to
So
correlate
you
that.
really have to think about what does that look like so that you can have success in getting close to that memory. But the other part of that is not only to break those recipes down so that you can have success in that should you choose, but then also make it your experience with that recipe as opposed to trying to copy the experience and the memories that you have from Apple's Bakery. Because that is really what Apple's Bakery was all about. It was about creating memories. And it was and that's what I hope as the keeper of Apple's Bakery, I hope that that's what you still have for those that have memories with Apple's Bakery. That's my gift to you, and let me share with you all those memories you've given me. Those are the gifts that I hold very, very dear to me. So it's really, really
That's awesome.
important to me. So writing this book, These Hands of Mine, it's an anecdotal story about how I got where I am today, but actually how am I transforming to go to where I'm going to go tomorrow, and it can be used for anybody. It really, the genesis, Kim, started out, my husband and I are in the latter years of our known career, but we still have a lot of passions and interests and lots of experiences we want to have. How do you process yourself forward? So over the years, you would be able to watch me, what they would say, reinvent myself at the bakery or in the community. I'd raise my hand, I'll do this, or let me go ahead and introduce this new line of tapas or gluten-free at the bakery. It's like, why are you always doing that? And I'm like, well, heck, why not? Because there's more to learn, and it's a lot of fun, to do that. So when you leave a career of 33 years, where are you going? And it was about 3 years before I retired the bakery that Chris and I, who's my husband, and I started to ask ourselves these questions. Where are we going? what have we been doing this for, and where is it we want to go? So I'm blessed that I've been married with my husband. We'll celebrate 32 years this October, which is pretty cool. And we're continually encouraging one another to stretch our personal boundaries. So to have my spouse be that teammate with me is really a blessing. I mean, that really is a very big blessing.
And you guys run together too?
We do. Well, I don't know that we run together. He's a lot faster. He
But
goes a lot
you go
farther.
in the
But
same races.
We go in some of the same races. I'm always way behind him, and I'm cool with
You
that.
can call that running with him.
I'm cool with that. There's no competition there. But it was this book on how did I finally, on the run, actually, had this conversation with myself. How did I get where I am? Where really was the origin? And why is it that I have been able to really embrace my passion for food and people? What does that look like, one, to me, and is there a story in there? And I'm hoping that others will find that there is a meaningful story in there to embrace those gifts that are in the hands of mine. So the book starts out about the unconditional love between a mother and their child, and it talks about my mom, Alberta, who, bless her heart, will be celebrating Mother's Day again with us this year at age 91.
Yay!
And it was her.
So you have good genetics.
I have some, knock on wood. They're still working for me right now. And it was the relationship I had with my mom and watching her make pies. And then having her share that gift. And we shared that. And so then I've gotten to share my love of pie, because that truly is the one thing I love to make more than anything in the world.
And you do have a pie recipe in there.
I do. I actually do have the Apple's Bakery apple pie recipe would be in this book. And to come up with a title for the book, I don't know how you did yours, but I was actually working in Wyoming last year at a beautiful slice of heaven called Flat Creek Ranch, and I was a guest chef for them. Good dear friends have this ranch, and they were in a bind, and I went out and came in off the bench and cooked for guests. And I'm up in the mountains, and and I'm actually making a pie this very morning. And I've been thinking about this book, but I hadn't done anything about it. And I'm looking out this window, and if you can just put yourself in Mother Nature for just a moment. I'm looking out this log cabin kitchen, and I'm overlooking a beautiful, pristine lake in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and the mountains are around me. And I look down at my hands, and it was like I got a tap on the shoulder, and it was like, Mary, everything you've done for your professional career and for your personal life has always been a reflection of what you do with your hands. And so since I'm a baker, and so it was like these hands of mine.
It's such a perfect, and I got the privilege of looking at that
at the very
chapter.
beginning chapters.
And it is going to be a great book. I'm excited for you. And I'm excited for the people who get to read that and share in your memories. How awesome. That is so cool. I got chills when you were just sharing the story.
It's really cool. It's cool. But let me tell you, it's hard work, and I'm not quite done. So the book will be out in the summer, and we'll keep you posted, as this comes along.
Now, we're talking about, we got to get back to the M&M story, because that's hilarious. When we first sat down, you said, and I love how you said this, you went, I had a date with M&M's last night.
I had a date with M&M's.
And you blamed it on me.
I did. It was a bad date.
That's hilarious.
Let me talk just real briefly. What am I doing in my day-to-day life is I have a health coaching practice, and it's called Core View Coach. And so I work with one-on-one clients in discovering their relationship with food. And one of the things one of the really key principles that I encourage us all is to take yourself on a date. And that's part of the transformation process that I think is really key. But when you're learning your relationship with food, is pretend you're dating yourself. That's what you're having. So you're having this date on the inside of yourself, where we think date is with another person or an external experience. I want you to have an internal experience in dating yourself. So when Kim was at my home last week, and we were talking about a gig we're going to do over at her Curves on Sterling come Monday, she used the term that healthy was bad, as she's eating. And
she's like, didn't taste healthy.
And she's
healthy is not bad. Healthy's good.
Healthy is good.
To be clear. I said it didn't taste healthy, and you said healthy's good.
Healthy is good.
Which is good.
And she had already said one of her weaknesses is peanut M&Ms. And
one of many.
And so I had not thought about M&Ms in a really, really long time. So I happen to be with her again. This could be a slippery slope for me. I don't know whether this is positive or not. We'll see how this all spans out.
Next thing you know, on Healthy You, you'll see a bowl of M&Ms, apple fritters instead of healthy banana nut bread.
So I leave Kim yesterday, and this is how this is going to be. We're just going to have fun talking to you, because it really is wonderful to be able to share these experiences with Kim. So I leave her yesterday, and I happen to stop by to see my mom. And it was kind of warm out. And though I had had lunch, it was getting to be, I have a snack in the morning, as I said. I also have a snack in the afternoon. And that snack typically always has some protein in it. So it might be fruit and almonds or something along that line, an apple and almonds or something, a scoop of cottage cheese and something like that. But usually always protein. I go into my mom, and my mom lives at Lutheran Hillside Village, and they do such a wonderful job down there with their sense of community. Mom goes to every event, every activity, and she wins prizes. And so on her dresser is this box of M&Ms. And I'm like, M&Ms. I've not had any M&Ms in a really, really long time. And now I do eat sweets, but typically I'm the one that makes them.
But you've made them with good there is a difference in the ingredients.
And I don't eat processed food.
M&Ms are highly processed, bad. Yes.
And so I said, Mom, let's open this box of M&Ms. It was one of those really impulse moments. We all have them,
yes,
right?
We do.
You know, we all do. And so I eat this handful of M&Ms, and I got to tell you, Kim, I'm thinking I'm going to date these M&Ms. And after they got in my stomach, I said, I'm never going to date those M&Ms again.
Never taking them out on a date again.
Never taking them out on a date again. It didn't go over so well.
Yeah.
No, not so
when
well.
you're not used to eating that kind of food, it doesn't. You know, I don't eat bread as much anymore, and I was on a run, and I stopped at and got what I thought, healthy little sub sandwich, and I got that bread in my belly, and I was like, oh, so your body just isn't used to it.
But we have to listen to it. So today,
I was looking at these snacks. That looks like something would be good for my kids too.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
a date.
So the snacks I brought you today is banana bread, which I love banana bread. And you'll notice I cut it up in pieces.
Yeah.
So that means you have to work your way through it. You get to choose. You get to choose. You can eat it all, or you can eat one piece and go back from there. You don't have to eat the slice. And the other are dates and they're baking dates, so not the medjool dates that you might eat for dessert. And I just slit them open and put maybe a half a teaspoon of peanut butter in there. So either peanut butter or almond butter, so you get the nice low glycemic, nutrient-rich date, which will give you that nice and sweet. And then you put a little protein in there with your nut butter. You could use any nut butter.
And natural peanut butter is the way to go. We want to encourage you to use natural peanut butter. When we say natural peanut butter, it just has peanuts.
That's right.
And that's what natural peanut butter is, peanuts.
Right. And yes.
And it's delicious. You get used to it. Most people are starting to get a good idea.
You
Most
really
people
don't
are eating
miss
natural
it.
peanut butter.
Yeah. And so then you get that salty little
I'm going to try this. Now, was there a pit in there that you had?
No, those are pit. They're already
pitless.
been pit. Yeah.
And so that's okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing different.
No, you can just put that in your mouth just as you would a handful of peanut M&Ms and chew down.
Really? Now, where do you find these at in the store, these dates that don't have the
You can
pits?
find dates like that in the bulk section of any grocery store. You can buy them in the box. So the medjool dates, the bigger dates that you find, they will have a pit in there, and you could do the same thing. Those, just slice it and the pit comes right out.
Okay.
But these are...
I'm going to try this for sure because my kids would love that. Real quick, what's in the banana nut bread?
The banana nut bread, I replaced the oil with melted coconut oil. And I replaced the sugar with 100% natural honey.
Nice.
So if you like these tips on Healthy You, join Kim and I the second Wednesday of every month.
Yes.
And in between time, if you want to reach out to me, I'd love to hear your stories. I'd love to hear any questions that you might have. Go ahead and email me at mary@coreviewcoach.com.
That's
and I look forward to seeing you next month.
I'm so excited.
Thanks, Kim.
This was great. How fun. I'm going to get to eat some banana nut bread now. So
Absolutely.
You guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in to Healthy You, and we'll be back again next week.
PeoriaLife.com